Hi, this is Robert with Web Active Directory, and this is a look at how PeopleProvision and PeopleNexus take inputs and translate those into outputs or attributes within Active Directory itself. Now, during the provisioning process, whether you're using PeopleProvision or PeopleNexus, that is, whether you're provisioning users or delegating the provisioning of users via a web form, or you're doing it in bulk, maybe in a hands-free process that's running every hour or with whatever frequency that you want, you have a lot of options for how those users get into Active Directory. You can see some of these options here. This is what's called an output mapping in PeopleProvision or PeopleNexus. And again, you have a lot of options for what happens when a user's provisioned. For example, if a duplicate user is found, you can control what constitutes a duplicate and then what happens. Is that user going to be ignored? Are they going to be updated? Or is a new user always going to get created? I want to focus down here at the bottom, these things called output mapping fields. This is where you can control when a user is provisioned in PeopleProvision or PeopleNexus what attributes get filled in Active Directory. Now, if you don't know what all of this stuff means, the software creates defaults for you so that you don't need to know, good defaults. But if you do want to change what attributes get filled in Active Directory in the provisioning process, you can. You can combine and transform data coming into the provisioning process either via the web form or your data source in a way that makes sense. Now, in most cases, you won't need to write any script. In fact, this software exists to keep people from having to write PowerShell or other scripts. So if you want to put the display name as a combination of the user's first and last name, you can do that. If you want to put many values that are coming into the provisioning process from provisioning rules that have been set up, you can do that. But if you do want to fill in attributes using PowerShell routines, you can put little PowerShell snippets of script within these attributes. For example, here, the description is going to be filled with the user's graduation year. So the software takes the user's grade level and then takes and gets the current year and calculates their graduation year based on those two pieces of data. This gives you all of the power in the world to transform data in any way that you want it, if indeed you want to do that, to fill in attributes within Active Directory. And of course, because you can add these new output mapping fields, as many as you want, if you want to fill in obscure Active Directory attributes like, say, exchange extension attribute 13, you can do that. Just add a new output field, put the directory attribute name in, and then tell the software how you want it to fill the data. So now if we provision a user using PeopleProvision by filling out the provisioning form, again, this provisioning form is completely customizable. You can control what fields are on this form, how the drop downs are populated, essentially most every part of this form. When I create a user, John Smith, give him a job title of grade 7. This is a K-12 scenario here. When we look into Active Directory under the OU, John Smith is created there, select his properties, and look at how it was filled in. The attributes in Active Directory are going to be filled in just as we specified in the output mapping. That's it. This is Robert with Web Active Directory, and that's a short look at how attributes get filled in within Active Directory in the provisioning process in PeopleProvision and or PeopleNexus.